streaming now.
Alright, welcome to week 9 build reviews. So, I've been asked to step up and give a brief overview of what we're actually doing and what this video is going to be about. So today, you're going to see 9 teams submit their build review for the fall semester of development at UAT Game Studios. Real quick, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, what that means is we have teams of 5 to 9 working on games, 10 hours a week. So this is those teams working for 9 weeks, 10 hours a week to get stuff done. Sometimes people do get confused on how we run our stuff in that it's not full-time developers. So keep that in mind as you're looking at stuff. Well, we've got actually 10 teams today. So we're really looking forward to seeing what happens. We do this every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks we do a build review. So the next one will be in week 12. And then we'll have pitches in week 15. So looking forward to that. First team up today is Gray Area.
All right.
This is frozen.
Oh. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Donald Shepis. I am the team lead for Gray Area. So just a brief, Gray Area is a game where, actually, I'm forgetting something. Right. Now then. So Gray Area is a game in which you play as the Gray from the Roswell 1947 crash. The Army did their best to cover it up, make sure that nobody knew about it, but you are playing the single survivor of the crash. So just a brief history of where we started. So before the first semester of production, we had a game jam build that was made. Doug Doyne and Daryl Wofford, a pair of industry vets, were looking to work with the UAT Game Studio and pitch another game and see what we could make. And so for a prototype, they sat down with a bunch of their team from the previous game they were working on and did a quick game jam build of the Gray. So we were just running around and being able to scan things at this little crash site. Then we had our summer semester of production, and we were able to create a solid first iteration of our level and character controller and get kind of the bare bones working for what we need to work on this semester. So our goals for this milestone, we wanted to introduce the first version of our ranch zone that would be playable, update our crash site. We're now at version 2 of the crash site, a good healthy iteration. We've updated it with Gaia. We're using those tools to make it run more smoothly, as well as just further iterations on the set design, particle effects, lighting, and so on. We also added new UI and effects, so you're going to see a lot of new UI elements that are going to make things a little easier to understand as far as gameplay is concerned, as well as particle effects that give you some feedback on the things you're doing. So, the build. So, right away you'll notice some of our new UI made by Kylie Adkins, our lead programmer. And then I'll go into our new game. And this is our intro storyboard for our first cinematic, made by Michaela Farrell. All of the getting Unity to play and match the audio was set up by Devin Garrett, one of our programmers. And again, this cinematic is a storyboard for ultimately us doing this whole thing again, except in-engine to have an in-game cinematic. But that's kind of a later date goal of us. But it does establish basically what are the events that lead to the start of gameplay with the player. All right, and it also acts as a nice loading screen for our main gameplay scene. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of new materials in, as well as we've got our military cargo truck, as well as some jeeps in, new debris, some updates to the saucer itself, as well as some of the particle effects of the damage, the steam rising off of it. We've got our UI set up. We've got our waypoint, which actually now points to the way you get out of this level. We've updated some of our animations, made them a little bit faster. Still an ongoing process to continue to smooth those out. And when it comes to reading their mind, you're actually now able to grab the thoughts from the soldiers, as well as use our new updated UI for the interactions. So I'm going to try and sneak around real quick. So there's our, oh, he got me. As you can see, our soldiers, the AI for them actually detecting and killing the player has been updated, so it's a little more robust now. Down there you can see one of our new military jeeps. I'm going to start sprinting. Again, just adding more, iterating on this level. We're going to do a few more passes with the lighting. Turned out to be a bit of a bigger beast than we initially thought. But as I go through, I've escaped the soldiers at the crash site, and I'm now at the ranch zone. So this is the first iteration of the ranch zone that we've got in engine, basically set up so that way we have a different gameplay challenge. It's kind of a much more open area. You're going to have to use different tools to get past the soldiers here. And I'll just head in and show off kind of our first pass. Right now, we're kind of spending a lot of time figuring out getting to this good intersection of the gray is 4 feet tall, so everything looks huge in comparison to him without making it feel like you're in a toy box. So that's something that we're going to be iterating over this level. The crash site, it's a little more fleshed out and the scale's a little more easily understood, but that's just because it's been through more iterations. So we've got our shed as well as the farmhouse itself. This site is where a ranch hand working for the Brazel goat ranch actually found scattered debris and was kind of the first civilian contact with the debris field from the gray. As you can see, we also have a bunch of new debris field pieces, just so that way you have a lot more indication of what's going on in the scene. That's kind of the major things for this milestone. We're looking forward to doing further iterations on the ranch zone and getting this to kind of go up and meet the quality level of the crash site. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Curtis Downer. I'm lead for Gangs of Graffiti. So, throughout this past milestone, we've been, if it'll open. Okay. We've been working on trying to just get a lot of small stuff done. One of the things he worked on starting to update the menu, so you're able to go in and once we start adding music and all sounds and all that, we're able to change it. We have a key binder, so you're able to go in and key bind. But sure, one sec, sorry. There we go. So we've been working on implementing Photon and updating it. We still have a little more stuff. We've been having to, Jonathan's been having to redesign the scripts and all of that to make it possible, but you are able to connect to other people. Todd's outside right now, and just gonna start it. So you're able to go in and join each other. So we still have a lot more to fix, since the Unity networking is a bit weird and doesn't really work very well with Photon. So we still have to do a lot more fixing on that. But we've also been working on getting the cityscape to look a little more lively, look more like a city. We've also been working on having different tags, which we have the Banana Elvis and Bunny. This is a tag for one of the new gangs we've been working on. It's the Tracers, which is very Tron-like. We have the Aerosols, and we have a bunch of different ones. Bunch of other tags. Another one is the Spray Punks. We've also been working on designing out two more levels: the beachfront and the cityscape. The beachfront, it's going to be out the beach. It's going to be a lot more open, really in your face fighting. The cityscape's going to be a lot more vertical, going on buildings and all of that. We've also been working on world building, so we've been defining more of what gangs graffiti is and what happens in Neo Lotus and everything else. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is John Gavassi. I am the project lead for Dawn of the Dreadnoughts, and what you just witnessed is the first iteration for the intro cinematic for the game. So, over this past milestone, my team has been working on one thing, and that's getting all of our mechanics merged, the building system working right, getting our tools fixed, so that we can begin to really delve into building the meat of this game. I am pleased to announce that finally, after I don't know how many weeks, me and my team has finally been able to get everything working, the build system works, and in essence we can really show off what we're trying to do with this game. So let me open it up now. So as you can see, the first difference you can see in the game is that I've actually removed the green light button as all the scenes have been merged. There's no longer two scenes; it's all in one scene. So if I hit play, the first thing you'll notice is some new UI. For those of you who don't know, this is UI version 2.0. In it, you can see the power system working and the resources, along with a new resources called Tech. The Tech resource simply dictates what the player can and cannot build. Down in the lower right hand corner you can also see the beginnings of the new command panel, which the command panel is essentially where the player will build structures, issue commands to his units, and really act as an interface for the player to interact with this world. So like I said, the one major thing that me and the team have been focusing on is really getting the whole essence of Dawn of the Dreadnoughts to work. And I'm about to show that off right now. So with any RTS game, you've got your map, the Dreadnought, and you've got your buildings. So let's just say I want to build a couple of buildings. Alright, that all works. Now you can actually move the map to a much safer position because I don't want them to shoot my buildings. I want to get behind it. And as you can see, the buildings actually stick to the Dreadnought and move as the dreadnought moves. So let's say I'm being attacked. I'm going to build some more shield generators, reposition myself. Oh, well, okay, I just won. And yeah, that's our game loop. Another thing that me and my team have really focused on is getting our tools. For those of you who don't know, in order to build this RTS, we've had to build a lot of our tools. I can now say for certain that our tools are done. They all work. They've been tested. The next step going forward now will be to build the rest of the functionality, which can be done by designers with these tools. And yeah.
Hello everybody, for those of you who don't know me, I'm James Fisher, project lead for Life or Death. And for this sprint, thank you, never forget. For this sprint, what we focused on heavy was getting in like more support for mouse and keyboard, not only mouse and keyboard, getting in a new arena, and also securing the game loop, so now you can like win and lose and run around. So I'll show off the arena. Oh man, I was afraid it wasn't. And we have an entry. Oh, whoa, hold on. We also have like a little entry cinematic. I don't know what happened there. I'm just gonna try again. Where you get to, one person does like a little point, the other one's like come at me type thing. I don't know if it'll work this time. Was working this morning. Oh, here we go. So this is the new arena, a lot bigger, a lot more space. We also have now where me and this guy can actually go and lose and win, set to like one hit on the enemy player right now. After a certain amount of time, you both respawn and it like begins the sequence again. That's a bulk of what we've been focused on. Thank you.
Okay, so I had something planned different because I was told a different thing was happening today, so this presentation is going to be weird because it's out of context. But my name is Marcos Escobar. I am the lead for Rift Wars, obviously. So our team consists of 2 programmers, Merlin Hall and Jimmy Tran, as well as 2 artists, Keely Jacobs and Preston Campbell. This is some of the art that Keely has been working on for the past few weeks for the project. What makes it special? So, to reiterate what Rift Wars is all about, you take control of a army that consists of 3 different types of cards, which are your unit cards, your equipment cards, and your territory cards, as well as your general card. The general card acts as your representative in the game. Your objective is to kill your opponents and keep yours alive. If you lose your general card, you lose the game. Your unit cards are your soldiers, your heroes, your whatever you want them to be. Their objective is to eliminate your opponent's general card. The territory cards offer you special bonuses, give you better prices for your unit cards, give special boosts to certain units on the field. Equipment cards give upgrades. Sometimes they're permanent, sometimes they're only temporary, but they can drastically change how the flow of combat goes. The 3-deck system, which is based off the idea of separating the 3 different types of cards into their own unique deck, which increases the chance of you getting a card that you need specifically, instead of having to randomly hope and pray that you will get the card that you need for the situation that you're in. Like most other card games, which rely heavily on luck, though there's still a level of luck involved in this game, is not as drastic as some others. So the duration of the project. This project has been going on for one production studio. This was our first time in the studio, and we've made some drastic progress in terms of trying to build this thing from the ground up. We did have a playable demo in Tabletop Simulator, but it was nothing like we have currently in Unity. Prior accomplishments. So within the last 3 sprints, we've built the game from the ground up. We started off with absolutely nothing except for the game document and the original rules for the board game, or card game I should say. But we've managed to create our own application, so now we can actually play the game in a digital format. Current sprint, so let me just play the demo real quick. And it's gone. Oh, here it is. So we have 2 options currently in the main menu of the game, which is the play, which will take you into the actual game, and the collection. The collection will show you the current list of available cards we have. We'll give you a chance to look at the artwork and look at the various stats each card has, which are unique to the card. And one to play. And currently, this is what we have in the current engine. If you end your turn, you'll draw a card. It will have its own unique attack and health, as well as the cost associated with that card. If you start the turn, your opponent will also place down a card. If your card attacks a unit card, it will exchange attack and health from each other. So whoever has the most health in comparison to the opponent's attack will win the fight, but they will come out wounded. So the game ever changes as you progress. And that's currently what we have. I would like to thank Merlin Call, because he had to rebuild this engine within the last sprint all the way back from the ground up because we were having difficulty with the programming. Okay, so the future. So in the next upcoming sprint, what I really want to do is have at least the unit card functionality finished. So we have a set number of resource tokens that players will use to purchase their unit cards and put them on the field, and there is an exchange with a fully capable AI that will attack and defend as it sees the player progressing throughout the game. And that's it.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathaniel White and I'm team lead for Aegis, or the ACS group. Different than a lot of the other teams, we aren't with game studios, we are ACS programmers. So a lot of our work is extremely heavy on the programming side. So our game is Aegis, and we're going for a real-time strategy game. And what's mostly changed in this sprint is that we've shifted towards a tower defense style. Now, because the engine we've built essentially from the ground up over these last 3 sprints works for a very general RTS game, it's very easy to transition over to tower defense, where the AI is a lot simpler and it's much easier to set win and lose conditions. For this sprint, we made small improvements and essentially ended up wrapping up the code base that we need to begin working on the win and lose conditions for a full game. The first thing is we have an independent artist who's not with the team, but he does do contract artwork for us. So he's really great, and he gave us new trees, rocks, and cacti. So before I threw these together, just spheres connected to cylinders, and I think they're pretty good for a programmer, but they're not an artist's work. The artist gave us actual rocks and cacti and trees, which sort of suit the almost blocky art style we're going for, but still look significantly better than the spheres we had before. Along with that, as well as he's giving us these amazing barracks and other building artworks, so really we can't thank him enough. Second is map generation. We've done a lot of work with map generation. It's now based on Perlin noise, which, as I'm sure all of you know, is smooth random numbers in 2D plane in this case. And we have biomes with biome-specific spawn rates or decorations. So before, you can see we have randomly placed trees, but that's not really how trees are placed. And more of a real world, and in a lot of RTS games, you see like we have the spread of trees with this sort of region of desert, and cacti don't spawn in forests, they spawn in desert. So really the map generation is really well done this time, and we're going to use this moving forward into the build. 3, pathfinding. So we did have we've been working pathfinding for a while. This was my job. I wouldn't think there'd be this many problems, but we've hashed almost all of them out. So we're good. We have a movement service that essentially manages all unit movements, so you can tell to move to a location. It'll do all the calculations, the pathing, and go ahead and get you from point A to point B. And the last thing we've worked on, which really is going to help us in the debugging stage, is hotkeys. So this isn't so much as the end game hotkeys. When you're an expert player, you use these to get faster the game. This is for us to test without writing complicated UI, different iterations of how things are going to work, what units can do, their activative abilities, what buildings can spawn, and so forth. The programmers who worked on this went above and beyond what I asked. I want to be able to push a button, run a function. What they gave me was an external DAT file, which is just a configuration list of functions to keypress, and they have a code parser that parses this DAT file, and it's very, very easy to implement code-wise. So yeah, just for example, I could say, control 5, and in code we could just put in a key hook and have it hook into an enumerable, and the key hook essentially registers the next function with that whatever enumerable is hooked up to the key to run whenever this detects this key press. So it's very, very easy to use. Can't thank my programmers enough. And also, these 2 slides are from the documentation that Bailey threw together for us, because he's just decided to go above and beyond on this as well. So yeah, very easy documentation. And for the future plans, we also have, we also have sort of a planned out roadmap of what we want all the buildings to be able to do, and how we're going to be programming this going forward, so that we can hopefully work more independent of each other. Yeah, I guess I will demo really quick. So yeah, as you can see, this was in our last sprint. Just random trees. The rocks are rocky, but they're a little bit too big for rocks. And then in the current model, we also have a menu, which is just a placeholder, but it works perfectly. We have the random map generation. You see everything's placed within its respective biome. We actually have clustering of trees thanks to the Perlin noise, and these white boxes will be replaced with the actual artwork we have coming in with this sprint. So lots to look forward to, and this time we're also going to try to change up our iterative process to have a playable game by the end of sprints, as opposed to almost the water flow method we've been doing. And that is all. Thank you.
Oh, he's tall.
Like that for some of the screen.
You just have to scale down.
Yeah, you have to scale down and see how the robot is.
That's an interesting game.
OBS Simulator 2018.
The aspect ratio is totally thrown off.
What the heck?
Just slide it out there.
You can use view.
Hmm?
You can use view.
I don't mean to break things. I just touch them and they break. I'm a designer. It's what we do. Anyways, hello everybody. I'm Regis Jerry. I am the project lead for Looters of the Arcane. Some of the stuff that we got done on this sprint was getting textured assets in for the Japanese level, as well as some small changes just around the hub world. One of the major changes that we did here was we've implemented the new gun that we're going to be using. It's a little more sci-fi-esque, and then really goes well with the new effect. I also made a new animation for it, so it actually has a little kick. And because it shoots based off of the muzzle's position, it will actually fire up into the air if you manage to shoot again as the recoil is happening. And then this was one of the sort of big changes that, while it seems small, was actually very much a needed piece, because a lot of players, when we did our playtesting, were running in here thinking that this is where the gun range was, and they didn't look down the giant hallway. So now we're kind of drawing the attention more to the right to kind of lead them to the other signs. So kind of a trail of breadcrumbs. And then inside here we have some small changes to the living doors tutorial. What we ended up doing for this is we changed the statistics for, or not the stat, we changed the stats for the doors themselves. So the first few doors will let you through. However, once you get 2 doors in, it won't just let you through, so then you actually have to learn the mechanics for the door to be able to get back out. Either that, or you have to figure out how to kill the doors, which for some reason isn't working. There we go. Yeah, so now players can end up learning in a little bit less of a hand-holding style and a little bit more of, you're locked in a room and now you have to figure out how to get out. So it also follows suit with the actual horror style of the game. And then, so heading into the Japan level, one of the things that we did here was we did add in a new enemy type. We're calling it the Ghost Sword, and we also use the katanas to actually showcase where the exits for the level are. So from any one position, even though the map is fairly large, you know all 3 of the exits to the level. And then if I can go and find a Ghost Sword, they are scattered about the map, and they kind of hop around, which is playing off of our playful emotion that we're kind of trying to encapsulate here. So they don't necessarily chase you right from the get-go. They kind of just wander about, and it is randomized based off of just the rotation angles. So they can do things like hop over walls, and yeah, there's one of them. So they kind of just rotate around, and then they will hop around the map. During playtesting, they actually did like leap over the wall at one of the players, and I felt bad because it kind of scared him a little bit more than we had intended, because we are aiming for more of stress and a little bit less on actually like having like a jump scare. And then we did flesh out some of the mechanics for grease. One of the ones that we're working on is sort of a mischievous nature, so we're going to be using doors similar to how this window operates. You can see through it from the back end and pass through it, but then once you would be turning around, we're going to be having the wall actually there. So as you're walking around the maze below the actual level, you could end up like walking around thinking that there's no exit, but it's just that the doorways aren't actually showing themselves. And then this is some of the new art that Ian Favreau and Donna have been working on. We're working on making it look more new, and it is still being built. Whereas, like a lot of Greek architecture that you see in games nowadays, it's very old and deteriorated, but we're still going to have some of the old stuff as well. And that's about it. Thank you for your time.
It's good. So hello everybody, I'm Todd, project lead for SiegeBots. In this sprint, a lot of the work we did is back-end improvements. So what I really want to show off is a couple of things. First is we've improved our pathfinding to be based on the size of the bot, so height and width. This is our exploration movement system. It'll just kind of wander around the map anywhere it is until it finds a target, which there aren't any at the moment, but as you can see, it's not going, oh, that shouldn't have happened. It's not going anywhere that it shouldn't be able to fit. So the other thing you might notice in the bottom right is our frame rate. Previously, since we use real-time reflection for all the actions of the bots, it's really slow. We've done a lot of optimizations, and it jumps from around 60 FPS with this many bots to 500 to 1,000, give or take. So it's significantly faster and more optimized, even though they keep getting stuck on things. But yeah, that's a lot of what we've done is just back-end improvements and stuff. So, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So for this build, we had a lot of focus on UI, hooking up everything so you could kind of see what we've been doing on the back end. There was a lot of back end stuff as well, but we did want to get UI hooked up so you could kind of see what we've been working on. So you can see that we've had our HUD updated. Over here we have our day and second counter. We've sped it up for the purpose of the build so you guys can kind of see what's going on. But there is a day and night cycle implemented. And with that, we can see there is our event system is in there. And so it's randomly generated every so many days or every so often randomly you'll get an event that'll happen, good or bad. And so that was one of the big things we wanted to work on this time around is our events. And so then it'll take you back to your inventory. Right now you've got pants and a lamp in your inventory, and you start with 50 jog knots or currency, and then you start with debt. And you can sell items, you can go to the shop and buy items. We kind of saw that last time. We did improve our tax system, so I can go to a total and I can see that, and it's a little bit nicer this time. I can come back to my inventory and I can sell, and this is updated. I can see in my inventory that that's updated now. And then I go to my primary account and then that is updated as well. We have an in now, so I can come and sleep and skip days. Eventually this will be hooked up to our morale meter, so if you sleep, it'll improve your morale. So if I want to skip a few days. So now at the end of my cycle, Whatever that is right now, it's 5 days. In the future, that'll be a little bit longer. It'll be 15 days, which is the normal, 15 days tax cycle, payday, stuff like that. You can see that you have an income tax. Right now, we don't have any debt payments coming in, but we will. Next sprint, update that. You can see how much tax. This comes out of your primary account, so it's an income tax based on how much money is currently in your primary bank account. And so then you can see what your new balance is going to be. And then it takes you back to your shop. And so that's pretty much where we're at. On the back end, we have our health bar here, and we have our morale bar. All of the functionality for that is programmed in on the back end. We just have to hook it up to the UI. We have our town named Lundberg for our first town here. And we will have 3 towns, but this is our first one. We have the ability to come down here. Right now, nothing is hooked up to it, but that will be your UI log, so you can go and see all of the transactions you made. You can see what your bank account is at, all of that. Your savings account, we're going to put in a building here that is a bank building, and so you can go in and out of the bank. And so that's coming in the next sprint as well. Again, all of the back-end programming was done this sprint. It's just a matter of getting the art and the UI hooked up at this point. So that's what we've got so far. We can see some more events happening as we go through. And then if I keep going through some days, we can see, I just want to get one more tax in. So there you go. But that's pretty much what we got so far. Next sprint, we hope to have a lot more to show you guys. So we've got art and UI hooked up, and there's more to show from the back end. That's what we got. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So. Alright, hey, good morning everyone. My name is Rocky Vargas. I'm the project lead for Communication Meltdown made by Monsterval Entertainment. So Monsterval Entertainment is an alumni studio founded by an alumni. His name is Mike Densmore. And we do have experienced leads on our team, like Tyler, she's our producer, and we also have Josh, who is our lead designer. We also have Schlegel, who's our other designer. Shepard and Barrett are our programmers. We also have Victoria, Spencer, and Andrew, who are our artists. So we have a lot of educational opportunities in our team. And we also use our projects for a lot of student innovation projects, like Call Center Simulator, Telepersistence, and my own for Watch Your Language. So before I even joined this team, or before I worked on Meltdown, I had no idea how heartbreaking and how rewarding it could be to be a game developer. So what is Communication Meltdown? It is a 2 to 4 player co-op puzzler. It's similar to Keep Talking and No One Explodes in Star Trek Bridge Crew, and it's a game about giving and receiving instructions. So inside of this game, you'd have a boss. He'd be sitting on the top left in that office over there, and then the players would be down below, and they would be the ones messing around with the console rings, finding buttons, levers, throttles, levers, or valves, and they'd be the ones who are responsible to get the instructions and push the right buttons. So we do have a limited scope. We do have voice chat available because that's very important for a communication game, and we are working in Unity Game Engine. It's working with C#, and we are compatible with Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. Okay, so this is our sprint review. As soon as it loads, I'm going to show you. So, 1 second. So the first thing you're going to notice is that we have brand new UI into the game. So Victoria was actually responsible for making this UI, and Josh was actually the one who implemented the UI into the game. So you're going to see you have difficulty level, room sizes. You can choose what you want for your lobby. And you're going to see this game, build from 2 different perspectives. So one's going to be a boss perspective, the other is going to be a player perspective. So right now the boss, which is played by Andrew, he's going to be making the lobby. He's going to name it Bones because we did this on Halloween night. And Schlegel is the one who's going to be playing as the player. So the player is going to click join lobby, and as soon as a server pops up, he can join in on it. And they spawn into the break room. So what's going to be different inside of here, is this quality supposed to be? No. I promise it looks a lot better. Don't know what's happening. Anyway, So precision grab is one of the biggest things that we worked on for this sprint as well. So before, when you grabbed the chair, grabbed an object, it would have a specific pinpoint, and now you could just grab wherever you're grabbing, and it would literally, you could do whatever. So this is the other important thing. This was programmed by Barrett. We had a big problem with a lot of our players, like Shepard. He would put his head through the walls and see things that we don't want to see. So what we did was, you put your head through a wall, you black out. So get your head out of the wall, and that's what our stopgap is for this. Because people like glitches. Like Shepard. Okay, and to join into the reactor, we have the keycard reader as normal. Right now, we fixed the bugs so that you can only spawn in one keycard, and that keycard has to disappear before another keycard can spawn. So if you're a player, you spawn to the decon room, and then you fade out once you get past that hallway, and then you go spawn into the nuclear reactor.
So we got a few of the three. The first one is a column with a handle on the right side.
So this was Andrew's first time as the boss, and he has to describe all of the symbols, which is the main part of the game.
Oh, coffee mug. There we go. Okay, I pushed it. Now what?
Alright, so the second one, it looks like a nightstand. So basically it's like a rectangle with like an arch on the bottom. So it's like the bottom line is an arch, and then the top left is crossing intersecting lines.
Oh. Describe it again?
Alright, so it's we have it's like two thick lines like intersecting in the top left, and like it all creates like a square, and then the bottom part of the square is an arch, basically.
Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah, I pushed it. Next.
Alright, so the third one is pretty much a Christmas present, and it's got like a V on the top. And then it's got like a line down the center, a little bit offset to the right.
Oh, I see it.
I just know what's about to happen, so.
Alright, what's the thing?
Okay, so they got it wrong. What we added in as well is we have a new boss button that turns off the effects. So when Andrew authenticated, he didn't know he had to turn off the effects. So all we kept hearing was alarms going off left and right. We're like, Andrew, turn it off. Andrew, turn it off. And being Andrew, he didn't turn it off until... and then he turns it off and back on because it is Andrew. So I didn't want to showcase them doing it over, but they got the sequence right after about 20 seconds left into the game. And this is just them pulling a success. So we now have our win and loss scenes in. So as soon as you win or lose the game, you get spawned into the break room. If you lose the game, then an explosion happens, and then you spawn the break room. If you win the game, then you spawn the break room, and you could get to choose what you want to do next. And the crown jewel of what we want to showcase today is our brand new steampunk environment. So this is a steampunk environment that Mike has been working on for a very long time. He's actually the one that was responsible for the nuclear reactor as well. And this one has the same core gameplay as the regular nuclear reactor. This is just a new level that we have added in. So this bar was actually created by Victoria, and the wine bottles was actually created by Andrew and implemented by Schlegel. Or Josh. It was Josh. I apologize. It was Josh. And the parrot, the animated parrot that you see up here, that was made by Jeff Watanabe. And this is our brand new steampunk level. So the reactor is going to still be the general same. The core gameplay is going to be the same. You have the console rings. It just has a brand new steampunk kind of theme, and it is very beautiful to look at inside the game. And this is actually thanks to Austin Harrington. He lit it up and he got me the screenshots. So it's all thanks to him that we're seeing this right now instead of inside the actual game. Cool. Okay. And that is everything. Yeah, so follow us.
Well, that had to be one of the best shows that we've had all season, so give yourself a round of applause. Really nice. All right, also, please acknowledge your online people. They are transitioning this week into 481. Say hello. Okay. And Derek, you've got any final words for this milestone before I turn off our recording?
Good job, everybody. Once the recording stops, a few just general announcements for on campus. Yeah, I think it was a good set of builds, and I'm really looking forward to using this as a springboard to the next milestone. I'm seeing some great stuff come together. So nice job.
Absolutely. Good job, everybody.